Hi friends! Hey, just to let everybody know, there are links in the description, and the only reason I'm telling you to email these or put it on their social media is because they said it themselves. What's going on? It's Soloyaker here, and we're going to get into this video, and I want you to understand this is like a two-for video. This is going to feature CJ Grisham, who's a good friend of mine, and it's also going to try to hopefully Clearwater understands some of what's going on. But let's dive into this video real quick, and then I'll meet you at the end, and I'll explain a lot more at the end.
Goose fraba. Goose fraba. All right.
Goose fraba.
I'm going to be extremely nice. Mr. Stiff, Rector, interrupted that gentleman right there. That was a break of the rules of the quorum. Can we please remove this?
The rules
There's number 2. That's a second warning.
Okay, look, I'm chairing the meeting.
I am
addressing me. So please, you've done so well.
I'm trying to.
It's very easy. Just
Let him speak. Let him speak.
continue. Just address.
I'm addressing this stuff, man. You're literally rewriting these rules of the quorum of not interrupting people and not saying this and not doing that. And oh, you're not from here. You know, I spoke to CJ Grisham. He's a lawyer out of Texas. I spoke to him. I have more faith in a lawyer from Texas than I do with this lawyer here.
Trying to figure out which of our constitutional rights any of you respect. You're taking away these citizen comments because you don't want us talking about conversations at a newspaper. You don't want us holding you accountable for things that you've done outside of these chambers. Are you able to remove citizen comments? Yes. What you're not allowed to do is do so for a discriminatory purpose.
Yeah, I hope you heard that, Mr. Margolis, Mr. Fancy dancy haircut guy. Yeah, I hope you're listening.
So even if you do something legal, even if you do something that on its face doesn't appear to be discriminatory, if you do it for a discriminatory purpose, it's illegal.
Propose that we further modify the council rules, in particular Rule 6G and Rule 15. And a little bit of the history on that is we've had a gentleman coming over from the east coast of Florida now for a while, and he describes himself as a YouTuber, and he's been to 2 or 3 council meetings since we came on board. The long history, the whole community knows, it's been reported in the media, and to make appropriate comments and to handle himself appropriately if he was going to participate in the meetings, particularly under the part of the meeting which is citizens to be heard on items not on the agenda.
You're not taking away these public comments because you're a tyrant, Mayor, and people are calling you a tyrant. You're a tyrant, City Manager Cagle, and you don't want people to tell you that you're a tyrant. I get it. You got weak skins.
And I do aggravate the thin skin of Ryan August.
So you got your first warning for the next meeting, and next time you do that, you're going to be thrown out. Please remove Mr. Haluba from the meeting.
I have civil rights,
Please
Mr. August,
remove Mr. Haluba from the meeting.
which you are violating right now.
Remove Mr. Haluba from the meeting.
Don't touch me.
Which section, sir? Please ask me.
He doesn't have the right to ask me to leave.
Yes,
Yes,
I
I
No,
do.
he doesn't. One time,
Let's go.
arrest me.
If you're refusing to leave, I'm issuing a trespass warning.
Okay, issue it.
You're not being issued a trespass warning. If
No,
refuse
you have
leave, you're going to go to
to, you
jail.
have to do it in writing.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
Mr. Luba, I'm telling you right now, if you don't leave, you're going to jail.
Let's go.
Mr. Luba,
I
this is the last time I'm telling you.
fucking dare you.
You're cowards. You can't face the people that you represent. And by getting rid of these citizen comments, you don't have to sit here and listen to that. Like every other city that has no problem listening to citizens coming up there and saying what a bad job their city council's doing. But this city council has a problem with that. For some reason, you just can't stomach the fact that you suck at what you do and that the people don't like it. So instead of just sucking up the 5 or 6 people who disagree with you, you're going to shut everyone up just to silence those 5 or 6 people.
And that's exactly what they did, not only in Killeen, Texas, but in Clearwater, Florida. Check this out.
Tell me if this is okay. I move to temporarily pause for a period of 3 months that portion of Rule 6, order of business relating to the citizens to be heard regarding items not on the agenda, effective next meeting. Is that specific enough?
I certainly believe that is specific enough because it specifies, number one, what you're looking to accomplish, the duration, as well as when it goes into effect. I mean, those are the elements that you'll have to specify. And as I said earlier, if that's the motion, it will require a supermajority in order to pass.
Second.
Any discussion on it? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, I vote in favor, so that's 4-1.
That's a discriminatory purpose. You cannot discriminate based on the content of someone's speech. You can't, Madam Mayor, when somebody's up here during public comments, interrupt them.
Mr. Stiff, Rector, interrupted that gentleman right there. That was a break of the rules of the quorum. Can we please remove this? There's number 2. That's a second warning.
Read Chapter 551 of the Government Code. This is public comment period, not Debbie Nash King communist period. Okay? Mr. Boyd, you're not even supposed to be speaking during public comments. There's case law on this. This is public comments. You are not members of the public. None of you are. You're members of the city council. And I know you know this because I sent you the email with the case law on this issue. I noticed you're not trying to shut me up, but everyone else you were interrupting during their comments. You need to take a real deep look inside because each and every one of you are either the problem or you're enabling the problem. And the problem is you, Madam Mayor, and your tyrant Cagle there.
Hold on, CJ, you forgot a couple more. You forgot Bruce.Rector, you forgot Michael.Mannino, you forgot Daniel.slaughter, you forgot Eric Gandy, who else? Oh, Margolis, Teixeira. Yeah, the only one that I'm going to give a little leeway to, Ryan.Cotton. You're not all the way there yet, and I hope that you don't continue down the route that they're going.
Who think that you can just lord over these people and do whatever you want without having to worry about consequences. The consequences are going to come, and it's going to be in the ballot box. And by the way, I saw your signs out there in open carry. Just want to let you know I am concealed carrying. People know I'm armed.
And what you're about to see is me walking up to the Stiffmeister, and I'm like, hey, this is the Florida statute, and it pertains to firearms and weapons in a council meeting. And you have to understand, I'm wearing a level 4 plate carrier with 4 AR mags, 2 40 cal mags, and you know, everybody's freaking out.
Talk to him.
Just so that we understand the law,
Yeah.
right? Firearms, weapons. Nothing on me is a weapon or a firearm, right? Perfect. I don't have any weapons. I wouldn't bring a gun in here. You know that. But I'm making a stance and whatever. This is all lawful.
So what? Doesn't change who I am. Doesn't make me more or less dangerous. Do you feel safer? Does it make you feel better? Because you go and tell people in the media. You see, we can't come and talk about these things if you get rid of public comments, the kinds of things that you're doing that aren't on the agenda.
And that's what I've been saying this whole time. You know, they've literally violated my Second Amendment right, my First Amendment right, put their hands on me numerous times, kicked me out of numerous meetings, and all because of either words on a shirt, the words that I had to say. This is the same thing.
You want to determine what we care about, not us. And when somebody comes up here and they're speaking about something on the agenda, Madam Mayor, you don't get to tell them how they discuss their beliefs on an agenda item. You don't get to do that. I see y'all looking at the clock. I'll tell you what, I'm going to give you 27 seconds.
Thank you.
And I just want to let you know, there was something that transpired. I will leave a link to that video in the description if you want to go check it out. Just for time constraints, I'm going to leave that part out. But anyway, something happened. He ended up they wanted to mess around and find out. And guess what? This next part is where they found out.
First of all, I'm glad my mayor is here because there's at least one fewer tyrant mayor in attendance. In a society under the forms of which the stronger faction can readily unite and oppress the weaker, anarchy may, as truly be said, to reign. James Madison once wrote of the, quote, great importance in a republic, not only to guard the society against the oppression of its rulers, but to guard one part of the society against the injustice of the other part. Madison went to great lengths to highlight the tyranny of the majority in the Federalist Papers number 51. This is about RS 24-116. I'm going to get there. I'm laying my predicate. He understood that, quote, different interests necessarily exist in different classes of citizen. If a majority be united by a common interest, the rights of the minority will be insecure. The original text of the First Amendment to the Constitution, as drafted by Mr. Madison, read, the people shall not be deprived or abridged of their right to speak, to write, or to publish their sentiments. This was shortened by the special committee drafting the amendments for submission to the delegates, but highlights the freedom of speech and includes the protection from the abridgment of it. Yet despite these admonitions against infringing upon the right to speak freely, President John Adams, who was president of these debates, passed the Sedition Act.
I want you to pay very close attention to what C.J. Grisham's about to say, because there was a point in our time that, guess what? We couldn't criticize our government. But I want you to hear it from a lawyer that had to go through the process. And for you, Mr. Margolis, you should have gone through the same thing.
The Sedition Act criminalized anyone who would, quote, write, print, utter, or publish any false, scandalous, or malicious writing or writings against the government of the United States, or either House of Congress of the United States or the President of the United States with the intent to defame the said government or said House of the said Congress or said President, or to bring them or any of them into contempt or disrepute, those poor government officials, having people say bad things about them. The horror they must have gone through. The act was used to suppress speech critical of the Adams administration. Now, while the act was allowed to expire in 1800, the Supreme Court noted it likely would have been ruled unconstitutional.
You hear that, Margolis? More than likely, what you guys are really trying to do is no different than the 1800s. Suppression of speech. Suppression of speech, and you're pointing the finger at this guy. You're pointing the finger at this guy? Okay. We're gonna find out, man. Trust me. Trust me. Wait.
While you guys are trying to come down to just twice a week, I don't have any problem with that. That's how we do it in Temple. The problem is, y'all have a history of clamping down on the First Amendment. You know, you started with just these so-called rules of decorum or whatever, and then you decided, oh, stay on topic. We're not gonna let you talk about anything but what we want you to talk about. We are your masters in this temple of government. We, upon our high chairs of office up here, standing before you, elevated below you lowly citizens. So then what did you do? You know, people were trying to talk during agenda items. So now you're trying to make it even less. You have just been presented, at least your city secretary has, with the lawsuit that I promised you, Madam Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem Cobb, Mr. Cagle? Not looking at me now, are you? You thought it was all talk when you wouldn't let us talk. Now that talk is in writing, you've been served.
I was gonna serve them a lawsuit on the 15th. I really was, everybody. And don't worry, it's still coming. But when I found out about this, I think things changed, and I'm gonna use what they're doing right now and the time before. They've done this twice, specifically because of me. And I have all the videos. I'm gonna continue to hold on to these videos because guess what? This is how I am going to win a pro se lawsuit against Clearwater, is by using all the things that they say against them. And I've never done anything to them. I just put out information. So trust me, everybody, wait until October. October is when this whole thing kind of gets resolved. And then we'll see what happens in October. So, bye, friends. I miss you.